What's the biggest risk you took without telling anyone? I used to think chasing a dream could wait until life got easier, but that's what my parents told me when I said I wanted to be a chef. They said dreams were for people who had backup plans, and that real life needed real jobs. So I signed the paperwork for business school and tried to believe it would be enough. And I convinced myself that someday, maybe after graduation, I could go back to it. But everything changed the day I passed the mall bulletin board on my way to the bus stop. A yellow flyer caught my eye, and it was for an amateur cooking contest that weekend with no experience needed, and it was free to enter. At first, I kept walking and told myself it was silly and I wasn't even ready or had the time. But after a few steps, I turned around and stood there staring at it, and I realized something that scared me more than failing. I realized I would hate myself if I never even tried. The contest was small with plastic tables, folding chairs, and a bakery giving out samples. It wasn't fancy, but it felt like home. And I made the only thing I really knew how to make without thinking, my grandmother's chicken empanadas. But I didn't even hear the crowd or the buzz of the mall around me. It was just me and the dough and the smell of garlic. When they announced my name for first place, I almost didn't believe it. I stood there holding a plastic trophy and a gift card to a cooking supply store, trying not to cry, and for the first time in years, I felt like I wasn't pretending to be somebody else. I planned to keep it a secret, but secrets have a way of slipping out. A few weeks later, during a family barbecue, my cousin started bragging about all the awards her kids had won, and before I could stop her, she mentioned my contest. She said she saw my name in the mall newsletter and joked about me being the next celebrity chef, and everyone laughed, except my parents. But later, when the plates were cleared and the family was scattered across the backyard, they found me by the grill, and they didn't yell, but my mom told me I was being foolish and that cooking was fine for a hobby, but real life didn't wait for silly dreams. And my dad told me they had sacrificed too much to see me throw away my future over some childish fantasy. And I stood there nodding like I agreed, but something inside me broke. That night, I packed a duffel bag with a few clothes and a notebook of old recipes and left. I crashed on my friend Maya's couch and promised him it was just for a few days, though I had no plan. The next morning, I walked into a rundown diner near Maya's apartment and asked if they needed help. The manager looked me up and down and handed me an apron without asking too many questions. The pay was terrible, and the hours were worse, but I didn't care. I just needed a start. I worked the grill at night, scraped grease off pans, and cleaned the soda machines until my fingers ached. And during the day, I saved every penny I could and signed up for a cheap community culinary class, but it wasn't glamorous, and some days I wanted to quit. But every time I folded pastry dough or caramelized onions, I remembered why I left. One Thursday night, about 3 months after I started at the diner, a man came in just before closing. He sat at the counter, ordered coffee and a slice of pie, and stayed long after the other customers left. But I didn't think much of it. I just cleaned the grill like usual. But before he left, he asked who made the pie, so I told him it was me, half expecting him to complain. But instead, he told me he owned a restaurant downtown, and my pie was better than most of the ones he paid professionals to bake. He asked if I ever thought about going to culinary school, but I laughed and told him maybe in another life, and he offered me a full scholarship. He said he liked helping people who remembered that food wasn't just food, it was heart, and he said he saw it in the way I worked. The night before I left, I sat at Maya's kitchen table and wrote my parents a letter and told them I loved them, and I understood why they wanted the best for me. But sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is let them choose their own kind of hard life, even if it's not the life you imagined.